Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Spark of Genius Flesh and Blood production. Another weekend release on our month of April three release April, and it's going pretty good. We're about halfway there. So we decided to add a couple POVs that we have recorded up for Outsiders Draft. So we have a couple. So we have Azalea, Zuri, and probably gonna get a couple more. But these are kind of to supplement the draft hero guys that we've been releasing over the last couple weeks and going forward to try to complete the full set. And so a little bit of a drafting. It's not drafting gameplay, just draft experience POV to hammer home some of the points that we are describing in our hero guides, put our money where our mouth is. And I am joined, as always, by I guess not as always, but by my co-creator, co-commentator, co-caster,
There are
co-patron.
one-ups here and there, yeah.
You were there on the Yuki video. Remember?
It's true.
You
You
were
and your
busy with life
BC,
things.
yeah, it's your BC time zone. That's what it is.
All right. Anyways, so this is going to be one of the Azalea drafts. So what we have here is the Azalea POV draft, and then we have a picture of the deck, and then we have a picture of a different Azalea deck that I did just as a comparison. So we kind of have two pictures of two different decks from two
They're
drafts.
different,
But,
two different drafts.
They
Okay.
are different. They are two different drafts. So we can go straight into the first one.
All right, I'm starting the video right now. Okay.
Okay. So we're opening the pack. Beautiful. So this is the first ever Azalea draft on my end. So I've never drafted this hero before.
And you were pretty much not forcing, but you were leaning heavily into
No.
Azalea here. Okay.
No, well, this is the beginning. I wasn't really trying to play Azalea.
Oh, I
This
see.
one
It
just
just
happened to be
happened.
running Azalea.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't really in the mindset
Yeah.
of forcing
I
anything.
mean,
So in this pack,
infecting
we see a
shot
couple.
is quite a
Yeah,
high
red
priority era.
infecting,
Yeah.
red virulent touch is good. Blue death touch is good.
Mm-hmm.
Spring load. I'm kind of looking at the death touch a little bit here. Honestly, again, at this point, this is quite early drafting in Outsiders. This is my second draft in Outsiders, something along those lines. But rest of the pack, Sedation,
Oh, red
Yellow
cut down to
Rabbit,
size. I didn't even notice that one.
Red
Wow.
deck counter size. There's a lot of strong cards
Yeah, this is
in
a
this
good pack.
pack,
And
honestly.
Threadbare Tunic also.
Red Bear Tunic. And so I think the key for me is I want to stay a little bit more on the open side because I don't see anything super obvious where I can like pick it and then there's nothing for someone on my left to pick. As far as like trying to force them out of my class, like there's two big red arrows that would be kind of nice. I ended
So
up picking up the
blue
Death
Death
Touch,
Touch.
blue
Okay.
Death Touch. I like all colors of Death Touch, and because it's a hybrid, and you could use it as Assassin Ranger, obviously, it's definitely good. And then it's just a blue, so it can end up being pitch. And
Yeah.
then
Okay.
I, if I went back again, would I definitely pick the blue Death Touch? I'm
Hard to
not
say.
really sure. I think it's fine. So here, pick two. We do see a couple nice premium cards. The Spire Sniping's okay when it's red. Seeker's Hood, Blue Scout. So at this
Yeah.
point, the correlation for these packs is still kind of wonky. Nobody really knows what's going on because there could be one, two, or three rares. In this particular pack, the only rare we see is Toxicity.
Was it
there
blue?
another rare?
I think it's a blue.
Was a blue is a blue Toxicity. The foil is still there as the Deadly Duo. And then we have the rest of it. Looking for a Scrap Blue is the other rare. So I don't know if a rare was picked out of a three rare pack. Like I'm not totally sure. I'm kind of digging the Seeker's Hood at the moment because I can't really see anything crazy that I want to pick here for any class. I think the Yellow Deadly Duo is fine and Benji. The Spy Sniping's fine. I'd rather have the yellows and the blues. I don't really want to fire. The Yellow Withering Shot, if I was actually like in Azalea, the Yellow Withering are real strong.
It'd be really good later in the draft, probably.
I 100% agree, but I think there's also a chance that it just might wheel. Like if there's no
Right. Because people aren't locking in that heavily right now, and there's probably better things to take than the Yellow Withering Shot.
it's a small chance it will wheel. I think the Yellow Withering Shot's actually quite strong for both Riptide and Azalea, so I don't really like my odds for that wheeling. But at the point, I wasn't committed to Azalea because I have a Seeker's Hood and I have a oh, then we see the foil Lace with Blood
Lace
Rot.
with Blood Rot, that one's not bad. It's a pretty good pick. But
By,
it's,
by not bad, you mean very good.
it's
then
very
yes,
good, but it kind of corners you into one path, right? It
corners you into Ranger. Like,
into Ranger, yeah.
Yeah. And so I'm looking at Bleed Out for some reason. I'm not sure why I'm looking for Bleed Out. It's not a bad card. It's a fairly nice aggressive card, if you, especially when you have Kodachis, because then you can pretty easily Kodachi Bleed Out or Kodachi Bleed Out just with like blue pitch and still have like one floating if you hit with one Kodachi. So I end up picking the Lace because of the foil Lace coming in pick 3 that's a I couldn't tell at this point whether that was a signal or not. I didn't really know for sure, but I figured it's a very strong power pick. Like this is something that be pretty happy pack one pick oneing, pack one.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm very happy early picking this regardless,
Okay.
and it's coming in pick three pack one,
Yeah. And actually,
and it
pack
still
one, I was
works.
gonna ask, what was your second pick if you remember? Because the pack had so many good picks in it. You did go with the blue Death Touch, but I think there was
Yeah.
the
So other good cards in there. There was a
Threadbare
red virulent
Tunic,
touch. Red
Virulent
virulent touch would have been good
Touch.
with Uzuri and Riptide. There
Mm-hmm.
was a cut down to size red, which is pretty good for
Yeah.
Uzuri.
Yeah.
Um, and then red be like water, quite nice for Katsu. Head
Mm-hmm.
jabs like overall good. Yellow sedation's okay. Feisty locals pretty good generic cards. So there's a couple good picks, but you can tell that Ranger is like yellow Widowmaker's okay. Then you got the blue Skybound's okay.
Yeah. Blue Sedation
Again,
Shot. I meant a yellow
yellow
Sedation
sedation.
Shot. Yeah, yeah.
Not a lot like not a lot of hints at what people are going at after, right? I think
But
there's
a
strong cards in all three
red head jab is
classes.
like premium in Ninja, right? Like that would be
So red, I would pick the red be like water before I pick the red head jab because it is quite good. I end up picking the yellow sedation shot because I'm hedging a little bit more towards Ranger just because I do have the blue death touch if I want to go Riptide. It's not great
yeah.
in Azalea, and
The
here I'm
red
kind of
blood
just
rot.
like, is that really what I want to do? But I think I want to hedge a little bit more. I didn't really see a crazy amount of great ninja cards early in the picks, so I don't know what's going to wheel. And that's
Right.
kind of the issue. So you see a little bit foggy here on the
Frailty
zoom.
trap.
Hopefully that fixes itself. Yeah, the frailty trap. I end up picking that. There's really not a lot else for kind of the
Yeah.
dual classes that I'm still in. There's a, the yellow sedation shot. There's a yellow descending gust wave, but it's not red. Um, and so the reason I pick up this is that it's still kind of in the realm of like relatively easy to play out. Fairly, it's like an on hit, right? So
Mm.
at this point, I have one buff. I only have the lace with blood rot, which is pretty important to note here.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Here I'm just trying to like get the zoom to work, and it's
Get the
just like,
focus. Yeah. I mean, Mask of Malicious Manifestation's pretty good for Riptide.
yeah. Keep in mind that I do have a Seeker's Hood, so I'm not like
Oh, that's right.
that.
Okay.
I see the
Yeah.
Murkmire there. I see the blue Falcon Wing there. So here I'm just kind of still hedging towards Ranger. I'm not sure if I'm Riptide or I am Azalea yet. It really depends on the availability of buffs. Right now I
Right.
only have one red lace, so I'm leaning more towards Riptide here because I've got a lot of the like
And you got the
if you
frailty
watched the
trap
draft
as
hero
well.
guide. Yeah, if you saw the hero draft guide, I'm actually on a pretty good shape for a Riptide deck. You got a blue
Hmm.
Deathly Touch, pretty decent. You got the Frailty Trap, which is pretty decent, and you have a lot of like three block arrows. That's kind of what
It's
you're
a
rolling
red
with.
Widowmaker coming in.
Yeah,
Not
Red
the best arrow,
Widowmaker,
but it's still a red arrow, which is
it's an arrow.
it's an arrow.
Honestly, the red Feisty Locals is actually pretty good also.
Mm-hmm.
So the red Widowmaker is very much like an Azalea card. Really not amazing in Riptide.
Mm-hmm.
The Seeker's legs, I kind of regret not taking the Seeker's legs. I think the Widowmaker like it's fine, but I think the yellows and blues are better because you don't really need
Okay.
the one additional damage if you're gonna dominate it, you're gonna dominate it. You're gonna get the buff. It's not
Yeah.
damage isn't really the concern here.
There are better slots,
So
I think, for the arrows for sure.
yeah. Red Skybound shot is kind of like the only like yellow Murkmire is pretty bad, like a zero. Yellow 0 for 3. Seeker Horizon's okay in red. The yellow one I'm a little bit skeptical, and there's really not much else in this pack, so I just pick up the red arrow,
Yeah,
which is still a one for
Fleetfoot.
five. Yeah, Fleetfoot's kind of whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
if I wanted boots that badly, I probably should just pick up the Seeker's Leg.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, at this point of the drafting, that being like this is my second draft on Outsiders, first one in Rangers so far, but just in Outsiders in general, I'm leaning towards not picking equipment as heavily
Okay.
earlier on, especially pack one, right? Because I'm still in between heroes. Like I can still go Riptide, I can go Azalea. If I see some strong assassin stuff, I can still swap out because I have Death Touch, Frailty, I have a headpiece. Like I can give up 4 or 5. Like what am I at? 3, 6, eight
Eight
picks,
cards
right?
now.
So I can
Mm-hmm.
give yeah, I can give up like 4 or 5 cards to like go into a strong assassin.
Okay.
Like I'm still kind of open, and I'm still fairly okay with doing that. Like not opposed to making that
Yeah.
swap, especially in pack two, which is actually very reasonable, especially when you
Right.
haven't picked a specific hero, let alone a class at that point, right?
Right.
So
So
That
Virulent Touch.
red virulence touch.
Are we
So
back
that's
now to your
we're
original
back.
pack?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, we
Yeah, 'cause
cycled.
I have
Yeah.
eight. I have 8 cards, right? So this is gonna be
Right.
the ninth
So
pick.
the
So you see the red
ninth, yeah.
sedation, the red sedation shot. So someone picked up the red blood, the red. Oh, thank God, thank you, Eric,
Cut
for
down to
cleaning
size.
that up a little bit. Red sedation shot,
Cut down
and
to
red virulent touch.
size was also
Cut down
taken.
to size. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was taken. So I'm looking at the virulent touch, and here's kind of where like, am I just slamming Riptide here, right? Because I think
Mm,
if I'm picking up the red virulent touch, I think I'm solidly like looking at Riptide.
right.
And I decided that I wasn't super convinced I wanted to play Riptide. You see the yellow withering shot came back? I
Yeah,
was
you called
super
that.
happy about that. Yeah, I'm just like, I hope this. I hope to God this wheels, and luckily it did wheel. This kind of led me to believe that there might only be 2 rangers. However,
Mm.
you did
Oh,
so one of
and
the other
Seeker's
rangers would
Leggings
have
too.
taken, and the Seeker's List came back too. It's true.
Yeah, yeah.
I was actually kind of looking at the blue scout, but I picked up the legs because that's the correct one to pick up here.
Hmm.
So at this point of the draft, I'm thinking like I'd be pretty happy if I was only a 2 ranger pod because someone else took the blood rot arrow, right? And
There's a
then you saw the sedation arrow.
yeah. There's a blue arrow which blocks 3, which is probably
Yeah,
decent here. Probably better than Wreck Havoc
yeah,
and Wither.
yeah. Less good for Azalea, better for Riptide because you just
Yeah,
want a bunch of arrows that block for 3.
it's true. But
But
it
I
is
ended
a
up picking it
blue
up.
arrow that blocks 3.
There's a blue arrow that blocks for 3. The yellow wreck havoc, as you said. I was thinking about it.
Yeah,
Ah, ah, I ended up picking it
you
up.
took it. Yeah, yeah.
So I don't think there was a particular reason. I don't know if it was the right pick, honestly. I don't think I would have done that again. I think I would have. And there's like yellow free willing, just better than
Oh,
yellow.
and the Mask
The
of
yellow one for 3.
Manifestation just comes back.
Yeah, the manifestations comes back, so that's also quite
That's a
interesting. But
very good sign, I think.
it is. But now I have 2
But you've
headpieces,
got
which
two
is kind of
headpieces. Yeah,
yeah. I'd rather get like the blue arrow or like some kind of arrow as my
that's
last pick here.
fair.
So as you can see, you have the lace, the death touch, the sedation, the frailty, Widowmaker, Skybound, sedation, another withering. So it's honestly at this point, I should have just went with Riptide.
Okay.
I think this is looking like a much stronger Riptide deck. Like I could have picked up that red virulent touch,
Hmm.
and I could have tried to look for more Falcon wings and more go agains in 2-3. I have 0 scout the peripheries. I only have 1 buff, which is laced with blood rot. It's not looking grim, but like as far as the Rangers go, I really think looking back, I just commit on Riptide here,
Hmm. Hmm.
which would have given me some better equity because I have a pretty good, strong start for Riptide, to be honest. But
Right.
this was draft 2. I'm going to remind you again. I
Right.
don't know what Riptide does for a living here, and I haven't played Ranger in draft. I barely knew
Yeah.
what Barb Castaway did. So
Right. Right. Yeah.
forgive me for I have sinned.
Well, that's
But
fair. I mean, Azalea is what we know anyway, right?
well, you
Oh,
know, like
well, come actually looking at Come to Fight. That is a
yeah,
premium buff.
yeah, come to fight's looking pretty delicious here. And then rest of the pack,
Another
there's a
frailty
yellow
trap. Lace
fire.
with inertia
Yeah,
too, actually.
laced with
That's
inertia. Yep.
I mean better than Come to Fight because it costs 0 and it
Yeah.
locks you into Ranger, but you're pretty much confirmed into Ranger at this point anyway.
I am in Ranger. So between come to fight and lace, that's the real. I think I've kind of locked myself in Azalea at this point
And
because
you're
I think
ignoring
if
the
I would
trap.
have,
You weren't thinking of the
yeah, I wasn't because if I was Riptide, I'd probably take the trap,
right,
take the frailty trap.
the frailty trap.
Um, so I end up picking the come to fight because that's the least likely to wheel. I think
Okay.
is the key here. And
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense actually. Yeah.
if
Plus
there are
it
two
blocks 3.
rangers,
I did
it
not know
blocks
that
for
card
3.
blocked 3 actually.
It does block 3. Ever since Arcane Rising, it's
Yeah.
blocked 3 for everybody.
Wow. Wow. The
And you
more
can
you
see
know.
I'm kind of just like, how important is the on hit? I think inertia is the least important.
Mm,
And that's kind of why I decided to. If it was another blood rot or if the frailty one, I probably would have picked that up instead.
yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
Probably. But come to fight good. And I see the Wayfinders. I'm
Ooh.
just so sad because that would be my third stupid headpiece.
Yeah,
And
I
there I'm
probably
just
wouldn't
like,
go there, but that was a red toxicity actually. That's kind of nice.
yeah, another red frailty trap.
Gonna
If I
dominate.
actually went into Riptide, I'd be being chilling here. Like
Yeah,
that's what triple or 4 traps at this point,
that'd be like
and
3, I
they're
think. Yeah,
all premium traps as
they're
far
all
as like
reds. Exactly.
they will trigger. Like these guys will trigger.
Right.
It's not like the yellow ones, which are a little bit like way less. Frailty is so good
I
too.
really like that toxicity though, especially for forcing. Well, if you're leaning towards
For
Azalea,
Azalea,
it makes a lot
yeah,
more sense in her because you can dominate an arrow for even for
Yeah,
4, and then good luck blocking that. Here's 5 extra damage on toxicity.
yeah. No, exactly. So that's
So
like those
you
those
took
are
the
kind of the
trap.
things that I
I
think I
I,
took the trap.
I
Yeah.
missed what you took, but I think it was the trap. Yeah. Okay. Oh, red rabble
Yeah.
too. If only you were going Azuri.
The red rabble, but the lace with frailty was in there.
Yeah, I know. This is a very good pack.
So
And a red come to
yeah.
fight. Oh,
Mhm.
sometimes when you
Yeah, I
draft,
was
you just wish
getting
you could take everything from the back.
yeah, I was getting gas. So at this point I'm just like, okay, I must have said the signal somewhere that there's no rangers like to the left of me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the people passing to my right are just like gonna pass me the juice, right? So
Take
we
all the ranger
see
stuff. Yeah.
key thing to note is we're seeing a lot more falcon wings pass by too. Is it red
Mm,
bondsman tree? Is that we saw red bonds too, coming a little bit
I think
later.
so. Here's a red falcon wing coming in. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean
the red
that's
falcon wing.
premium in Riptide.
Riptide.
If only you were
Yeah,
going Riptide. It's okay in Azalea. I
see
guess it's still an
now
arrow that
now
costs 0.
yeah, now I'm a lot more confident in my ranger abilities that I would probably slammed Riptide and just like picked up the juice here. So
Yeah.
Falcon Wing, Threadbare Tunic. Again, my equipment is like
You've got the head, you've got the boots. You're just missing the chest piece and gloves, right? At this point.
yeah, and I'm thinking about Threadbare. I was looking at Red Bonds. I'm like, how is this still in the pack?
Mm,
I was like, oh my,
yeah.
holy moly.
It's like no one going
Uh,
ninja.
I,
or
I'm not
yeah.
very, yeah, I'm not very high on hate drafting in this set. Not unless there's something ridiculous. So
Right.
at this point, I'm kind of looking through to see what I've picked up. So a couple
Yeah.
traps.
There's a good chance that that falcon wing will wheel as well.
Yeah, I'm also okay with like blue withering shot. Like it's still fine because you can
Okay.
arsenal it
Yeah.
and then flip it up with barb
There
castaway
was
and
a
it
good
comes in
backup in
four.
there for you. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a good wheel like that. I was looking at mainly the wheel there.
Okay, yeah.
Um, and this is obviously not going to be the best.
I like how you put
The
Bonds of
best
Ancestry
Azalea
at the
draft.
top to like tempt whoever gets that pack.
No, I'm just like, here you go. If you're in this
You're
class,
just letting them
enjoy.
know this is Eric's pick. You get a
Yeah,
hand
pretty much.
tailored pack from Eric.
I like to save people time in drafts,
It's
Rob.
true
I'm, I'm,
because
I'm
it
a good
saves you
person. I'm a
time.
good person.
It comes,
Exactly.
what goes around comes around. Eh?
Yeah. So, I get what you see. No good deed goes unpunished.
Yeah,
In
there you go.
hidden, nudge creator, content
Creator,
creator
content
spoiler.
creator kit.
But
Yeah,
I think at this point I'm kind of now prioritizing. I'm pretty solidly in Azalea. I think I've kind of missed the Riptide window, even though it would have been a nuts Riptide deck, honestly.
yeah, I agree.
So we're looking into this next pick here. Red Free Roll Renegade, Yellow Skybound. There's a lot of equipment rolling around. The fisticuffs coming through.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Oh,
which is
free ruling
interesting. Not a
renegade.
lot,
Yeah.
not a lot for Ranger though. Like really kind of light on the Ranger cards. I think Free Ruling Renegades is actually quite good. The red 1 for 6,
Mm,
it's very good. It's better in Riptide because it's not just like a straight up whiff. I ended up picking
right.
the Blue Rabble. And let me tell you why I picked the Blue
Okay.
Rabble. Because it's essentially an
Enlighten me.
opt. It's
Okay.
you just get to look at the top, right?
Right. So
I also
you're
didn't
cheating
think
opt in Azalea.
yeah, I also didn't really like the idea of picking up the yellow skybound shot. And here it was the blue infecting shot. That was the next pick after that. Blue infecting over blue
Mm,
withering. The reason is just because I value blood rot a little bit more, and I
yeah.
already have 2 frailty traps, and because I
Right.
already have possibly 3 frailty traps if I was Riptide. Oh my! I
Right.
really sad that I wasn't Riptide this
No
draft.
regrets. It's okay.
No regrets.
This was
Yeah.
the draft you went 3-0, I want to say.
No, no,
Okay,
this
this
deck
was a
can't go three.
this was a
Yeah, no
2-1.
spoilers here. Oh, I don't want to spoil it. Maybe I go 1-2. Maybe I go 0-3. Maybe I go 2-1. Nobody knows.
Fair
What did I
enough.
pick up here?
We'll leave that till the end. But
What did I pick up in that other?
toxic tips.
Did I pick up top? Oh, I did pick up toxic tips.
Yeah,
Okay.
so you've got
Um.
the full suite now. You took Threadbare, I'm pretty sure. So you've
Yeah, I
got
don't think I
five
had
armor
an arm
pieces.
piece, right?
You
Yeah, I
didn't
don't
have
think I
one.
had an armor piece for
That was
yet.
your first. Yeah.
Are we on the boulder trap? Oh my good god. We're just like chilling with boulder trap. I don't think I picked up boulder trap.
Let's see. What do we got? Yeah, foil boulder trap. Very nice.
Yeah, that's
Yellow rabble.
yeah, Yellow Rabble, which is okay. I'm less happy about Yellow Rabble, especially in Azalea. I'm actually okay with it in Riptide,
Hmm.
but because of the go again. But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, the Boulder Trap is a little bit interesting because you don't really have that many targets. Like the -1 armor is fine, Um,
Right. But it has to block an attack that was buffed, right? If I remember correctly.
yeah, you have to. So if it blocks one card, um, it gets a buff. It's barraging beatdown, more or less. It's just like
Mm,
you dominate it to get it off instead of just intimidate the entire hand. I
right.
was actually looking at the bold. So the reason why I'm taking so long is I'm thinking about the Widowmaker interaction with Boulder Trap. It's like, if I Boulder Trap and -1 their armor and it has 0 armor, does it still count as a blocking card for Boulder Trap? And I think the answer is yes, it does.
Right.
That's why I
Right.
didn't end up picking up the Boulder Trap because I'm just
Okay.
like, well, it can still just block with 0 armor, right?
Would you
Um,
go back and take it now though, knowing what you know?
no, because I'm not Riptide, so it's just
Okay.
kind of like just not very good.
Just not
Um,
for Azalea, really. I mean, Azalea plays it, but it's only in Classic Constructed, really. I think in Draft it's a little
yeah,
less potent.
yeah, I ended up taking it
Oh, but
because
you
there
took it
wasn't that.
anyway. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I ended up taking it. But here I got the
Oh,
either the yellow
Yellow
spire
Withering.
spine. I wanted both. Don't
Yeah,
get me wrong. I
yeah.
wanted both yellow spire and yellow withering. I
But now
took the
because you're leaning into Azalea, you want that
I
opt,
took
right?
the spire.
Yeah.
Correct. Here just more arrows, just like the blue sedating shot.
Yeah. Sedation
Pretty
shot.
reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want the least number of misses as I can, right?
Right,
So
right.
like I don't wanna.
And even a blue arrow that you buff will still be a 6 dominate, right? It's not awful.
Yeah. I end up seeing the blue Widowmaker.
Blue
So the blue
Widowmaker, nice and
Widowmaker.
foil.
Yeah, it's good. It's not a bad card. Like this card is like the red one is kind of overtuned. I like the yellow and blue are just
Hmm.
better. Like I don't think the one damage is as good as the one pitch or two pitch.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
Not really that much else in these last remaining picks. I think there's a blue Seeker
Hmm.
Horizon, which is could be worse. You get to put something on top. You got like a couple assassin cards. I think I just randomly took one. I think it was like an isolate or something.
Isolate and Prowl. Yeah.
Yeah. Then we have the blue snake bite spring load,
Foil.
whatever you call it,
Yeah,
foil
Spring
too.
Load. Yeah. At
So
least it's a
this
blue that you
deck
can
is
put in your
looking,
deck, right? And if you're worried about fatigue, the more playable cards you have, the better.
yeah. So we managed to pick up two more buffs. So we have one laced with frailty, one laced with blood rot, and one red come to fight. So another two buffs, and we're looking pretty reasonable, I would say.
Yeah.
The only issue is there's a little bit too many generics for my liking, as far
Mm.
as like there's like random trash in there. Right? There's like
Yeah.
blue rat, there's like a yellow
Blue
wreck havoc.
Rabble.
I should have not have picked. I don't know what I was thinking picking up wreck havoc. I think I was kind of thinking I might still Azuri.
You took that instead
I'm
of
like,
Toxicity, the red Toxicity, I think.
because I was not committed at all to Azalea at that
Yeah,
point. Right?
you're right.
Um.
Yeah, yeah. It was early.
Yeah. I don't know. Again, at this point, still less sure what's absolutely critical or not. I was just using like basic kind of theory here.
Yeah, yeah.
Rolling
And
into
and who
pack
knows? Maybe
three,
the Toxicity was a signal that screwed someone else up earlier on, right?
that is also true. So pack three here, the generics, nothing really to write home about. We do see yellow infecting shot, which I think I put kind of to the top as like
Mm-hmm.
the best thing I see so far.
Yeah, that's quite good.
Come to fight is okay.
What color was Come to Fight? I probably
Blue.
didn't. It was a blue. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I think I rolled back through it and I like kind of look at it.
Oh, I see
Red
it.
Twin
Yeah,
Troopers is really good for Ninja. Very
yeah.
good for Ninja. Red Spring Load is okay, like just in general for like Azuri and Riptide and such. I ended up picking the yellow infecting shot, which is not the most exciting thing. I was really hoping for like Red Scout the Periphery.
It's still a
Um,
four damage, right? So you're forcing two cards if they don't want the blood rot.
yeah, so the things I'm looking for in pack three are a couple more buffs and some more opt. So I'm looking for not pure opt at home. So Spire
Opt
Sniping,
at home.
Scout the Periphery,
Yeah,
stuff
in
like
draft
that.
you gotta cheat out opt somehow.
You do. You do have Seekers. I do have a couple Seekers
All right.
pieces, right? So I'm gonna get opt out of Seekers. Um,
Red feisty
we got
locals. It was a
yeah, red
yellow
face,
cut down to size as well.
yellow cut, yellow piece of mind.
Yeah.
Red surging strike was a good for whoever's on the ninja. Red infecting shot
Mm.
though is obviously probably the
Oh
pick.
yeah. There
But
you go.
then sneaking in the back there in the last card,
Blaze with inertia.
laced with inertia.
Yeah,
I'm
he
just
did
like,
want two
"Oh,
more
man, why are you?
buffs. This is a
Yeah, why
tough
aren't you in the
choice.
next pack? So if I was Riptide, you slam the infecting shot. But
Hmm.
because I'm Azalea,
Right.
it's tricky, right?
Yeah.
Because I end up taking and this is a mistake. I would say if you're Azalea, you should pick up the lace. I think the
Mm.
red blood shot, it's not that much better than the yellows I've been picking up.
Yeah.
Um,
On the bright side, if there is another Riptide in the pool, they likely won't pick the buff. Well, they probably will, but there's a higher chance
Oh,
that it
they're still
wheels,
happy
right?
with the buff.
They'll be happy, but it's not
They're
as
still happy with
good
the
as
buff.
an Azalea.
Yeah.
But there's a small chance it wheels, especially because the signals that you
I
got there
think
weren't that many Rangers.
honestly, I think Riptide's actually pretty happy with those kinds of buffs, unless there's something else that's super crazy in those packs, like
Yeah,
a really good trap or something like that. Maybe
yeah, which
they're
which wasn't the case.
yeah,
So any Ranger would be happy just to take that anyway. I'm sure. Yeah, you're right. It's probably
yeah.
gone.
The next pick here, again, we see a lot of crazy ninja cards. I end up
Seeker
picking
Horizon,
the
Twin
Seeker
Twister is
Horizon, the
red
red. It's
again.
good.
Yeah,
You get to put it on top. But we saw another red twin twisters. We saw Mask of Many Faces. What is going on that side of the pod? There's really
yeah,
no ninjas on this side. Next here we have the Widowmaker yellow, which is pretty good. It's actually my favorite color of Widowmaker.
yeah.
Which I'm
It's a
just
good
checking
sweet
her out
spot.
right up there. Hopefully my wife doesn't watch this, so I'm just checking that Widowmaker out. Wayfinder's Crest. I'm really sad that I saw a second one, but I already have two pieces. I ended up picking the
Yeah.
blue Skybound shot.
Okay. Just
I
need some
think
more
that's the
blues.
best pick.
Okay. I mean, yellow is
I
good
think I
enough for Azalea.
yellow Widowmaker.
Although there
Yeah,
isn't
and at this
any.
point, I'm,
Oh wait,
I wasn't
sorry.
sure how many blues I had.
Do you you don't run with Death Dealer, right? It's always Crow's Nest. It's always Barb Castaway, right?
Yeah, you're on Crow's Nest. Yeah, so was Barb's
It's
Castaway.
always
There's no
Barb
Death
Castaway.
Dealer.
Sorry, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
Obviously. Okay, yeah. So that makes sense. Yeah.
um,
So a blue is a
so
lot better
I
because you're
think
running that bow.
the reason I picked up the blue was because I wanted to get all the shitty blues out, all the generic blues.
Mm.
I still think the yellow would have been better here. I see a Nurse's
Oh.
Trap. My Riptide deck would have been cracked.
Oh yeah.
We have
Wow. That'd be the fifth trap
Merkmire
at
is
this point.
okay.
Hmm. Yeah.
So it's either the yellow scout or
Red
the red spire.
Spire. Yeah, I do like the
I
Spire.
actually I actually prefer the scout, the yellow. I end up picking the spire, but I think that's incorrect because it's a red spire. I
Right.
think the yellow scout is a lot more flexible. I think the +2 is still fine. I
Okay.
think, and you get to do the same thing. You get to play the card, opt at home. The spire, I have to pay to load the spire
Mm-hmm.
or pay to flip the spire with Castaway. So I have to pay for that same privilege. So it's just like, well, if I need the resources and I don't get a buff out of it. So I'm just like, you know what I mean? At least the
Right.
buff I can do with anything in
You
the
can still
arsenal.
use it. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, Spire sniping is probably better on yellow and blue, like you said.
It is, yeah. So here we see the red skybound shot, which is kind of the,
I think
the big arrow.
yeah, it's probably the only pick that I saw that
Yeah.
was worthwhile.
Red freewheeling again's okay, but it's a good card, but
Yeah,
not really an Azalea and not
yeah,
particular for the decks I'm looking at right now.
yeah,
Pretty reasonable in Zuri too. Like Zuriing in a freewheeling, if they don't
right.
block, just comes in for 6.
Yeah,
Like it
it's
still
good
comes in
damage.
for
Yeah.
6, you know?
Yep.
And it still leaks a little bit of damage even if they block with a D-React, because it's usually the D-Reacts come in for 3, right? So the freewheeling will turn into a 4. And so you're still
Mm-hmm.
gonna get 1 damage across, which is still kind of nice.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
so it's not too bad, but I think the issues here is that the buff premium is quite large with Azalea, but she also likes the opt at home premium.
Yeah.
And so the scout is just your best card.
Mm.
Yeah, the lace with blood rot, like that's all fine and good. They're all very good cards, but a lot of your arrows have on hits anyways. And
It's
so
true.
yeah, blood rot, you get 2 blood rots, but 2 frailties is like your daggers only do 1, right? And so yeah, either arsenal would be -2, sure, but
Mm-hmm.
your daggers only do 1, right? And that you
Yep.
just want to prevent the 2 dagger damage essentially, either from assassin or ninja, right?
Yeah. That's a good
Um,
point. Plus, you're not really blocking daggers. Like, you're not
no,
going to
not
give
as
up a
a
card for that. Yeah. Yeah.
no. You also you run a lot of cards where you can block with a card just to block with a card because you don't need it. You don't necessarily
Right.
need to
Yeah.
worry about blocking as much for damage because you are firing something back. Another yellow scout, yellow spire sniping this time,
Yay.
quite interesting. And I think
Red
those
Peace
were
of
the 2
Mind.
ones.
We talked
Yeah,
about Peace of
red.
Mind being very nice with the equipment. I forget the name now. The set the kind of like the generic set of equipment. Seekers.
Yes.
Yes, with Seekers. Yes. Thanks.
Yeah, and this is another one of those I should be picking up scout here.
Mm-hmm.
It does depend on your arrow count. Like you still want to be pretty flush with arrows in Azalea. Um,
Yeah.
but I think at this point of the draft and pick 3, you still kind of need a couple more buffs and a couple more op. Now, Spire Sniping does also kind of op. That's why I was just like, do I need the buff or do I need the
Or the
arrow?
arrow. Yeah.
And I think at this point I thought I needed the arrow more, so I picked up the arrow.
Okay.
Here you see the Falcon
Falcon
Wing, and
Wing.
then
yellow,
Remember the yellow blood infecting
the
shot?
infecting
Did I
shot.
just not
Yeah.
see it?
You
What
came
am I
back to
thinking
it, or
about
maybe you
here?
regret it. Well, I guess you're still debating now
Let's
between
put it
that and
here.
the.
Yeah, let's put that back, Eric. Come on, don't be an idiot. I think it's because
Oh,
I really haven't read the cards as in detailed, and I'm just
yeah.
kind of thinking
This is
about
early
what
on
our
in
other
the
options do again. This is pretty
release.
early on.
Yeah,
Yeah, come on, Eric. No, keep going. Keep
yeah.
going. Come on, you can do it.
Let's see.
You could. Yeah, that arrow's better. Oh,
Let's see.
there
You're just
it goes,
holding
and then
them
yeah,
both now side by side.
yeah. I don't know why. I think you just pick up infecting shot. I think at this point I'm trying to remember how many like on hit heroes I
Mm,
have and how many I need.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
think Falcon Wing is kind of just like, oh, I guess I extend my chain a little bit.
yeah. But you don't
And
really
I'm like,
have those
no, I'm trying to.
enders, right? Like I think most you would have probably taken some big hitters if you were going that route, but
Mhm.
there weren't many that you picked up.
Yeah, there weren't too many here, but I think in general, I'm also just kind of waiting because I think the person passing to my left isn't done
Oh,
it
you got some
anyways.
time to deliberate. Yeah.
Nothing. Yeah, there's nothing to my left. Otherwise, I probably just slammed infecting. I think infecting is like right up there with withering, but in draft, I think that my preference is probably slightly towards withering,
Hmm.
depending on how many assassins I think they're going to be in the pod. But
Okay.
there's usually quite a few, anyways. So I like withering quite a bit. But I think infecting is good to like close out games. So
Yeah.
you kind of need both. But I end up picking the blood rot. Thank God.
Infecting
Uh,
shot. Yeah. Very nice.
yeah, I just call it the blood rot arrow, and so
Yeah.
I get the next turn
I always
immediately.
forget the name too. Very
We just have
nice.
Murkmire grapnels.
Grapnel.
What a weird name for a card. I pick up the
Merkmeyer.
blue.
Grapnel. Yeah. There's
I
blue
think I
and
should be
yellow.
picking up the yellow. I think I should be picking up the yellow
Mm,
because if I really needed to be coming in for 4, I can just like Arsenal flip it with barbed and give it +1. Like
mm.
I don't really need the blue. I don't think, but I didn't really
Yeah.
know at that point.
Not many
Um,
options here.
yeah, I think I pick up the yellow cut down to size because it's like the most reasonable card out of like
Yeah.
what I can
Just
pick, which is that and
generally
peace of
better
mind.
than the rest. And plus, it might be hate picking into a Zuri maybe.
Yeah,
Although
that's also true.
we did wheel already, but I don't know. Maybe there was something else that was
Yeah.
just better.
Yellow brush
Brush off.
off actually pretty good this late because it's good anti Benji tech. So it's literally just
Mm,
like
okay.
Benji cards.
Yeah.
Uh, so I'm pretty happy to see that quite late.
Mm.
And I see Yellow Widowmaker, and I'm just like, oh shit, I screwed up once. I'm not going to screw up again. But I didn't pick it up the first time,
Yeah.
if we remember correctly.
You're right.
So and some passing some random ninja cards, nothing too crazy. The yellow
Yeah.
the blue twin twisters is good for Benji.
Okay.
Um,
So hate pick that.
I'm pretty happy with the blue skybound shot coming in this late. It's just like another, just trying to
Yeah.
replace. I don't think Rit freewheeling.
Just a blue three
Renegade.
block that could gain dominate with an arrow, or with a buff eventually.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's
Can't hurt
damage,
to
right?
have it. Yeah, it's damage. Okay, red freewheeling. That's
Yeah,
interesting to see that late. Oh,
yeah,
that was it. Yeah.
that's true. So let's pull up the first draft JPEG. It's just Azalea draft. So you'll see the equipment on the left here. We have the mask, Seeker's Hood, Threadbare Seekers, and Toxic.
Hmm.
So generally, if you're running the Seekers in both matchups, sorry, all matchups, the Hood and Leggings, specifically Benji, you're going to be running both of them. Just because you get the prevention. The armor is good too, but then the opt off Seekers is just better. Threadbare, pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that pickup. Toxic
Hmm.
Tips, also pretty good. You'll see that buff wise, we only have Come to Fight, Lace with Blood Rot, Lace with Frailty. We had the opportunity to pick up another Lace with Inertia, I think, and 2 Yellow Scouts. I think those were like our main options, and that's what we could have had instead.
Right.
I think those 3 we definitely should have. I think the red between the red blood rot arrow, the red sorry, infecting the red between the red infecting shot and the red lace with inertia.
Hmm.
I'm not mad at prior Eric for picking up the red infecting shot. Red
Hmm.
infecting shot is a hell of a card.
Yeah.
And I didn't have any good like red arrows at that
Yeah.
point. I
Yeah.
actually you see the picture, I only end up with the red infecting shot as far as
Right. That
big
was
red
the
arrows.
only one you picked.
Yeah. So I'm not like too mad about that one, but like the yellow scouts, I should have definitely have the 2 yellow scouts there. I
Mm,
mean, I
okay.
would have probably up to 5 because the 2 yellow buffs has the like equivalent impact of a red buff in my mind for this deck,
Because of the
and so I
opt.
would have had the yeah because of the opt, so opt at home,
Mm,
and
right.
so we have those kinds of buffs. The 2 frailty traps, funnily enough, I don't usually like traps in Azalea because they count as like whiffs essentially for all intents and
Yeah.
purposes, but super good against Benji, and specifically Benji. It made my life a lot easier. I did
Hmm.
face a Benji, made life a lot easier, and Assassin was good too. It bought me a little bit more time to actually fish out some better arrow
Right.
combos with buffs.
Right.
And then we have, as far as like looking at the top of the deck, we do have the red spire sniping, two yellow spire snipings,
Mm-hmm.
um, and then we have the
Yeah. I mean, you've got
Seek Horizon is
two.
kind of just like you just put something on top, right? So that's kind of the same thing. If you have an arrow in hand
Mm-hmm.
instead, you just Seek Horizon,
Right.
give it go again, putting an arrow on top.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I mean, you've
if you have
got
an arrow already,
I think you've got a nice amount of yellow arrows because you've got a few of the infecting shots yellow, which are still
yes,
fine. You've got the sedation shot, the withering shot, so it's
yeah,
not bad.
no, it's not bad. And then I did end up getting that red sedation shot, as you said. The yellow Widowmaker was quite good. The
Right.
blue Widowmaker was also quite good. I was able to kind of win a game just based on stacking those
Hmm.
cards to for a second cycle. So I just end up stacking those, and when they didn't have armor,
Just
I just like
just
threw
constantly
that
dominate.
dominate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, threw it with dominate. I ended up fatiguing someone as Azalea because of that, which is kind of funny. Um, and then yeah, the weakness of the deck definitely like wreak havoc, cut down. There's really like not a lot of, and then the blue death touch was very awkward in the deck. I wouldn't
Mm.
recommend the dual classes that cost or the dual classes in general. Like traps are fine, but I don't think the virulent touch or the death touch really makes the cut in most Azalea
Mm.
decks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Ratio wise, I was fine. Probably a little bit
Yeah.
too much blues. Probably would have been okay with like six blues.
Right.
I think seven was pushing it a little bit, but I think I needed to get to the 30 cards.
Yeah. But you've got a lot
Or
of red, so I think this makes for a pretty good Azalea deck.
yeah, the Zeros deck is pretty decent. I ended up going 2-1 with this deck.
Okay. Yeah.
I think it is a reasonable deck. I think there were three Rangers in the pod. I think there were two Azaleas and a Riptide, which
Okay.
is kind of why we didn't see as much coming through. I think the deck could have been a lot better, uh,
Mm-hmm.
with essentially those generic cards not being generic and those traps not being. Oh, the boulder trap specifically. Like there were some mistakes made, but like in general, we didn't see as many premium cards kind of come through.
Right. And
Um,
did you know? I mean, I know this is a while ago, but did you notice anything that was really lacking with this deck that you just wish you had? Like maybe
yeah,
more
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 buffs.
buffs, more buffs. Okay.
Yeah, just literally scout the periphery.
Yeah.
Card.
Okay.
What was I missing? Scout the periphery. Two to three of them to be
Okay.
specific. But I'd like to add that to my order with my fries and
Yeah.
double here. So
Yeah. Okay.
a couple scouts. Red would be nice. Yellow is probably fine also. Um,
Yeah.
the frailty traps actually did a lot of work. I'm not mad at the frailty traps. The boulder trap was useless. I really
Okay.
did. I I
I
didn't
forget
need
what you
that boulder
gave up
trap
for
at all.
this, but I think it was a good card.
Nothing much. I
Okay.
think the frailty traps were a
Okay.
little
Yeah.
bit too aggressive. But
Okay.
anyways, this was the 2-1, and then I drafted a couple weeks later, maybe 2 weeks later or something. I drafted Azalea again. I didn't record it because I wasn't really looking to record another
Right. Just
POV at the
wanted
point,
to
but
relax, turn your
turned my
content
camera
creator
off.
mode off. Yes.
Yeah,
Enjoy.
exactly. Not have
Be
to
in the
like
moment.
have everything.
Live in
Not
the
have to
moment.
have
Yeah.
my hands like in front of my
Yeah.
like
Okay.
phone with
So
the stand here.
I'll pull up the screenshot then of that draft.
Okay, so we're looking at the next draft and next draft deck, and you could tell a couple stark differences because I actually have a Azalea draft under my wings. The first thing you can see
Three
is I
blue.
have Wayfind.
Sorry, I was gonna point
Three
that
blues.
out there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
three blue. We'll start with the equipment here, Seekers. So I valued equipment way lower in just this draft, and I
Okay.
just looked for a lot more cards for the deck. So I only have two Seekers, which I got pretty late. I think I might have got them on the wheel, actually, one of them at least.
Mm,
I got the Wayfinder's cards pretty early, and this piece
okay.
of equipment is by far the best equipment for Azalea.
Yeah, in your
There's really
previous
no.
draft, it just came too late after you already had two
Yeah,
headpieces, so it just wasn't
I
really
would have
worth
picked it if I
taking it.
could. Yeah, I would have picked it if I could, but you could see buff wise, we're looking with Lace with Inertia, Lace with Blood Rot.
Mm,
We have the Red Scout with Periphery, and then we have those are all the red ones here. I think we also have a red Fletch or Red Tail. Well, I mean, it has to be red. It's fletching a red tail right at the top above Scout the Periphery. Um,
I'm
a
trying to find it
yellow.
there. Oh yeah, Fletcher Redtail. Yes. Sorry, I
Yeah,
didn't realize
we
you had
have
two
a
stacks
yellow.
of red cards. Okay, yeah, you got two
We have
columns
two
of red.
stacks.
Yeah. All right.
We have a Fletch a Yellowtail. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so we're looking at one, two, three, four, five buffs,
Okay.
as opposed, and they're all premium buffs. Like the
Right.
weakest buff is a 1 for 3 on
Yeah.
the Fletcher Yellow, and the Fletcher Yellow also has like their yellow cards block for one less, right?
Right.
If you're
Right.
able to
So I
get
guess come
a
to fight
counter.
red might have been the weakest one. The one for three.
Oh yeah, I completely forgot about Come to Fight. So I actually have six
So
buffs.
six
Okay,
buffs.
so
Okay.
I have
Yeah.
five premium buffs, and then I have a yellow buff essentially, which is really, really, really good. Let me tell you something here. It increases the chance in a 30 card deck
Yeah.
that every 1.5
One
hands
and a half
you're gonna have
hands.
a buff.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're gonna have a
You would have
buff,
needed,
which
I
is
guess,
really
like 7 or 8 buffs for one per hand kind of thing. But you're close.
the problem with 7 or 8 buffs is that you have a higher chance of bricking.
Whiffing or whiffing with
Yeah.
Azalea too.
So bricking, what I mean by bricking, I mean like you're drawing
Not
four
drawing
cards
arrows.
and they're all buffs.
Yeah.
Whiffing would be just like off the top kind of
Yeah.
thing, which
Yeah.
I'm okay with a buff off the top at the
Yeah.
very
You're
beginning
right.
of the
It's
turn.
it's because it's fine because you can play the buff and then
Yeah,
barbed cast away the arrow in, so it's not the worst. Just no dominate.
yeah. But you can also see just the quality of the arrows: red withering, red infecting, red sedation, red barbed undertow, which I
Oh,
actually got
barbed
past a
undertow.
little. It wasn't even it was a pack two, pick two, or pick three. It wasn't even my
Yeah.
opening pack two, and
Someone
I'm
someone
like,
gave it to
oh,
you.
hello, come to me, come to me.
Yeah.
Another red withering shot, another red sedation. So you have two red withering shots, which is already extremely good.
Yeah.
Red Murkmire, okay. Red Rabble, two Red Seek Horizons. Like
Yeah.
we're chilling. We're chilling. Like couple Red Murkmires, which are pretty good zero cost. A Falcon Wing. So your red quality is high, like really high,
Do you
and then your yellow
remember?
quality is just as high, right? Because you have yellow witherings. You have three yellow witherings. Yellow
Yeah.
Widowmaker, yellow effect. Like I'm playing with a Blitz deck. Like
Yeah.
this is
I
you're
was
just
I was curious to know if you had that same dilemma where you were considering Riptide for a bit and then switched or teetered out. No. Okay. Okay.
I didn't actually see many traps at all.
Okay.
And there was another Riptide player that actually just grabbed all of them,
Oh. Okay.
pretty close to me, so it made that decision pretty easy for me.
Yeah. And that's the
Um,
importance of reading signals. You just got to know what people are
exact,
playing.
exactly. Two yellow Spire snipings,
Mm-hmm.
for like the looking on the top kind of thing. So I have a bunch of
Yeah.
Spires, I have Scouts, three blue cards, and I bet you're curious as to how shitty my pitch was, like as far as
I'm gonna
like.
assume it was actually fine. Like I'm
So
willing to
for the
bet
most
that
part,
most of your turns were fine.
So for the most part, I think in the entire, so I did 3-0 this, and in the entire 3 games, all the hands, there was only maybe 2 hands where I could have used the extra resource,
Okay.
and the extra resource would have just been for Crow's Nest.
For
So
Crow's
it
Nest,
really just
just
like
for
used
the
the
extra counter.
extra aim count
Yeah.
for the +1, and for +1, and then if there's like
If there's an extra
Fletcher,
buff like
Fletcher,
barbed undertow or something that gets a huge
yeah,
benefit from
or
it.
yeah, it was mainly for the fletches, but yeah, for barbed undertow. I mean, Falcon Wing would also be a +1,
True.
but
True.
stuff like that, and then any of the other arrows
Yeah.
for a plus
I
one.
mean,
But
a blue
it,
pays for both charges of your barbed undertow, and then if the arrow costs one as well, that's your blue. If the arrow costs
yeah,
zero, you can still use both charges with a yellow. Um, like, there's a lot of ways to play it, and you can compensate based on like what you want in that turn and what you're
yeah,
able to pay for. So it's very flexible to play with the barbed
yeah,
undertow, the barbed castaway. I meant.
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So if I had to make any changes to this deck, I'd probably add one more
One
blue,
blue. Okay.
one or two. I think one of those yellow skybound shots, if I can make it a blue arrow, like a blue infecting, maybe if I can turn those two yellow skybound shots into two blue infecting shots, this deck
Okay.
would be absolutely cracked. It's already quite good, but if I can do that,
Yeah.
we are looking good in life, you know.
Very nice.
But extremely, and it only kind of took one game of Azalea to realize what are the important things in life, right? So I think that's pretty much it. So this is a bit
Very
of a
nice.
Azalea primer. The Azalea draft guide probably will be up, relatively shortly around the time that this will go up, but
Hmm.
kind of combine those two things. I put my
Yeah.
money where my mouth
Lots of
is.
draft content coming up.
Yeah, of course. And so with that, appreciate everyone for watching. If you like this kind of content, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. We like hearing everyone's feedback on these kind of decks and their own experiences drafting these heroes. And from wherever you're watching in the world, have a good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Bye for now.